A lot of you have been asking me about the Novocaine video, and honestly, I'm really stoked about it. I figured I'd take a little bit of time. I wouldn't say this is necessarily a tutorial. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a music video breakdown, but more than anything, I just wanted to take some time to kind of dig into the project, talk a little bit about it from a creative standpoint, from a technical standpoint, and just geek about it a little bit.
I ain't very clever. Open my lungs, they'll collapse from the pressure. Tell me now, when will we?
I think we can all relate with a little bit of burnout, finding ourselves kind of in the same process. I started as an editor, and I'm not always that excited about edits, but this is one project that genuinely I am still very excited about. And when I went into it, I wasn't necessarily sure that it would shape into this exact project. For me, it obviously kind of started with like, yes, we shot some awesome footage. Yes, we were really excited about the project. But even getting into the edit, it's like everything kind of came together in such a way that made me feel really excited about like, let's do something a little different. Let's challenge ourselves a little bit. Let's ask ourselves, what do some of these cool little quirks and pieces actually mean to the video at hand? I wanted to actually start with the creative treatment and talk about kind of what that looked like, how we pitched that, and then how that translated into the actual video itself. First thing we have is, the mood board, because we're actually producing both the Burn music video and the Novocaine video in the same day. So this was a single day production producing 2 videos, and I feel like when you're going about doing something like that, I feel like it's really helpful to just kind of have a tool like this to help visually show and verbally show, here's what we're trying to do. This helps get my team on the same page. This helps get the client on the same page. But with Novocaine, this was the first time we were able to take, the ENMY band into, a more kind of story-driven narrative piece. And I wanted to do that in a way that still let the band shine in a way, but also just felt really interesting and different. And the coolest part for me was actually giving the band, more of a character-driven role in it, as much as the actual characters were. So obviously in the video, art direction-wise, we really pushed them to kind of be in more of this like clean, like neutral sort of attire, and we were shooting on the white cyc wall. So we wanted to feel kind of like this clean reality of like our perception is that everything is just fine. But as the video progresses, we have this distortion and pieces and color flicker and all the lighting kind of cueing that like everything isn't all right. So in life, I think we are numb to the world around us. And as we start to interact a little bit more, things start to decay and erode. And that's life experience. Everything isn't always perfect, but the sooner we realize things aren't perfect, the sooner we can kind of work through our problems, our issues, and grow and develop and all those good fun things that are layered in this artsy-fartsy music video. And then obviously with the characters, it's about human connection. There's this character that's really worried and singularly alone and is pushing away from this other character. And for me, this is less on the romantic side, and I wanted to display the importance of human connection, but how difficult it can be to actually trust another human. So when you're watching this video, yes, it looks artsy and kind of interesting and everything like that, but there is some symbolism going on here. You'll see the character really pulling away, not wanting to trust himself, wanting to give into that. You have the water bath and everything like that. Between the 2 characters, we have the ink, which we use as like a color kind of play of like what's going on in the mind, the chemicals, what happens when we feel passionate, what happens when we're nervous. So all the color theory, it was like, yes, it's eye candy throughout the video, but at the same time, there's color that plays a role in the storytelling here too. Yeah, that's our mood board. This is what we pitched from the art direction of like, like the makeup, the clothing, the lighting, and, just even like the distortion in this. So yeah, actually digging into the video, we have character, we have the ink drop, water bath stuff, we have the actual band stuff is like the baseline. I wanted to just spend some time, the main thing that everyone's kind of asking me about is the distortion, but I kind of wanted to talk about how we got there. We open with our more cinematic piece here, and each one of these things we kind of, zoom in, and it's just kind of really a simple, there's time warping going on, there's lens distortion going on, there's this grain overlay going on, And, you know, like these assets are coming from like Artlist and places like that to kind of help build those in and add these extra flavors, which I've been a huge fan of Artlist, you know, lately. It's just like, I feel like I love shooting everything in camera, but I also like when we can add these extra elements and these extra layers to a video to kind of make it just feel a little extra, a little more fun, and gives me something to play around with creatively, which played a big role in me loving this so much. So initially, all of our multicams kind of played around, built in really well, and I liked how our story laid in, but I wasn't just fully in love with this. My first thing that kind of clicked in was, time remapping. Like, you'll see this time remapping forward, backwards. That felt like my first starting transition point. And then I fell in love with this, like, okay, they don't know that reality is distorted, but as the viewer, we can start to see that their reality is distorted. We're looking into a world that is not perfect. Digging in a little more technically, like if we get in here into these clips, like it's just built multicams. They're all pretty simple. Everything's kind of going on, and that's how I build things. Where like, okay, we can interact with these worlds a little bit and all that jazz. As we get to the actual effects of it all, all I'm doing is a lens distortion here, and I'm animating the lens distortion. So if we look at the tail end, like I'm doing like a -25 curvature and just kind of playing around with these different things. But you'll see, it makes it feel a little bit more like something's going on real. I'm not an effects-driven person. Anyone who's kind of paid attention to my work, I'm so in camera. But when I do tackle an effect, I like when I can do it through keyframes or do something really simple and kind of make it a cohesive thing. To me, I started to look at this lens distortion as a character throughout the film. Is how can we find moments that make sense to distort what the characters are doing so that it's not just randomized, but it's actually intentional. We also intentionally shot this mostly on a dolly, some handheld, and I wanted to keep this a lot smoother and cinematic. I wanted this to feel really peaceful, and then to take this in post and create the aggression out of the effects or out of zoom in and outs. So that was something that was really fun for me as a cinematographer, to not do my usual, let's just match the energy, make it more aggressive, but let's match the energy differently and then take that aggression through with an effect in post. Yeah, so even like looking here, we have the clip, we have this layer of, a distortion curvature effect here, but also we have, this 8mm overlay grain, change the overlays on these things, play around with them a little bit, zoom them in, flip them to make, one clip look a little different. Some of them speed up, some of them slow down, some of them are more aggressive grains, because I didn't want it to just be consistent of like, here's the same grain the whole way through. But I wanted to make it feel like, okay, we have this grain here, and then right beside it we have, this grain over here that's a blue hue. There's more scratches going on and all that good fun stuff too. Anytime I kind of do this story play, especially with this like oil bath situation here, I liked kind of finding moments to have something that would transition in, and then we'd have something that would flicker in, and then we'd flicker out, and then we'd come back here. We had a lot of variety to kind of build up this like inside the mind idea. Blue ended up obviously being a primary color. We built that off of Daisy's kind of hair color here, and just felt like let's have some more like complementary versus like split complementary colors. We wanted to do something that was a little bit braver and different, and instead of doing it through lighting how we typically do, like we actually get those split complementary colors just right here from the makeup on the face, which was really fun to do. Again, that's another little fun area. We did like a nested sequence here. I always like to do a safety underneath just in case something goofs up in Premiere, because I like Premiere and it makes mistakes, but it's what I know. But here there's like a couple layers of things going on. We have time remapping, we have the distortion, and we have grain over top of it as well. Get the time remapping done first, bake it into a nested sequence, and then add in my distortion afterwards. And I feel like Premiere plays a lot nicer when you nest it that way. Transitions in this video were like some of my faves, and then here is where it starts to get a little more interesting. So here it gets fun. This was one thing that I just kind of fell in love with this song, was like, how do we hear the song, fear the song, and almost, allow them to be characters in this. We use Playback Rocks, which is a tool that I like using to kind of map out like more technical songs where we're doing more technical takes. Because we shot, this sequence right here just this section we shot to kind of get a couple of reactions to like the light flickering. So we programmed all the lighting, we had everyone react. So at this point it's like, hey, I want you to react this way, I want you to act this way. So it's giving them the opportunity to not just play their instruments and look really cool, but also to act to this world around them. And I feel like this is those extra like little small details that really makes me fall in love with this music video that we don't often get to kind of push people that way. Yeah, video continues. We see a lot of the things, like in a lot of our videos, I'm always like, how do we build multiple worlds, keep coming back? It feels predictable, but there are these moments in this that like, we're about to come to a more aggressive part. Okay, boom, now we're gonna really take that like distortion to the next level. This is where we shot a lot more intentionally aggressive than the rest of the song. So again, every piece of the cinematography was a lot more intentional, which made these effects very intentional as well. Oh, they're connecting finally. So just rewinding a touch here, like in this section, we only shot this section with this blue flickering light. So we did the whole take with super clean white lighting or whatever, but to kind of keep the band stamina up too, so they're not having to do a whole take in this lighting effect, and I'm guessing in post, I knew that this part would be flickering blue light because it's the breakdown and we have the more aggressive part. So they only had to do, you know, like this 25 or 20-second section. And it's like, okay, we'll do 5 takes in this and we can kind of move on. This allowed the day to move really quick, also to make this more pro kind of look. And then like this section right after this, like we have again the distorted vocals. So we only shot 3 takes here of this little couple second. Break the fourth wall here. This is the only shot we do like that. It was fun to just kind of have like, these are specific moments that we're going to do this. Back to the normal look, just plain white. We have the tail end. Instead of going back to the blue, we kept it white and flickering. So it's just fun to like, how do we change up our lighting subtly? But yeah, that's the ENMY Novocaine video. It is literally one of my favorite videos we've done in our careers. For me, I always feel like our videos are like 6, 7 out of 10s, and I'm always lusting for more. This one really checked a lot of the boxes. This feels like a 9 out of 10 for me. I'm so proud of this music video. I'm so thankful that the ENMY guys were just so down with our ideas and so open to the ideas that we had. I'm just genuinely stoked on it. I'm so stoked on like the feedback that we've been getting, all the messages back and forth of like, you know, as an editor, I can, you know, definitely feel my burnout. This was a project that gave me so much energy. It's not stretching the imagination from, you know, the JCP formula of music videos, but it is something that creatively I am just so fired up about, and I'm so excited. I hope this was a valuable video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I tried to cover grounds kind of generally. I'm more than happy to answer more technical questions. It's really a simple video, even though it maybe feels more complicated. But yeah, if you watched this, if you enjoyed it, if you liked it, I'm going to try to do more things like this a little more often. But thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't. If you have, thank you so much. And until next time.